Good evening, and welcome to Having a Drink with Mink, the Independence Day edition. I'm your host, Jason Mink, and tonight I raise my glass to all of you independent OGs out there. Thank you for joining us. It is, in fact, the 4th of July. There isn't some sort of camera trickery going on here. I wasn't shooting this a week ago and then, sending it out to you now and saying, oh, yeah, it's the 4th of July. This really is the 4th of July. It's a little bit after midnight, oddly enough. Very quiet in my neighborhood. Ordinarily, it sounds like there's an armed insurrection going on around here. I'm not sure what's happening tonight. Perhaps we're all just tired of fireworks. What can you say? But hey, thank you for joining us. I hope that you have had a wonderful 4th. Chances are you'll have the day off tomorrow as well. For those of you who don't, well, get to tilting your elbow now. Oh gosh, I bumped the microphone. How unprofessional of me. But hey, enough of that. I'm joined by my host, Mr. America, of course. If you watched the last Having a Drink with Mink episode, Mustache Summer, I told you all about Mr. America, how he came to be, and he's going to be joining us here today. He's going to be lending his steely gaze to the over 50 comics that I have to show you today. We have the Avengers #2, and they battle the Space Phantom. Okay, technically this is a Marvel Superheroes special, and I think this may be #2 as well. Can't be sure, but hey, it's pretty nifty. Nonetheless, this is a reprint from Marvel's Silver Age. Wonderful to have it. Not only reprints Avengers #2, but we have a Prince Namor, the Submariner story from the Golden Age, as well as the origin of Daredevil. How cool is that? And for a buck, well, I couldn't go wrong, because I'm all about the coverless cuties, and that's what this next run is. These are all coverless cuties. Here's a copy of Archie's Jokes, number 69. The jokes make themselves. This was published in April of 1963, and for 75 cents, well, I'm always happy to add an early Archie to my collection, because heck, I'm just reading them, you know what I mean? And then we have Batman and Robin. This is an 80-page giant magazine #12 from July of 1965. And this is back when LSD was legal, obviously. And then we have The Black Cat, and this is a Harvey reprint. This is number 64. Then we have The Hunchback Hollywood and The Movie Murder. Captain America, originally published in Captain America #3, May of 1941. And this is another one of those fantastic Marvel reprints. And what's pretty interesting about this, I just noticed, this coverless comics can actually teach you some stuff. Apparently, this was 2 regular-sized comics stapled together. You can tell right there. So how cool is that? A little bit of history up in your business. Then we have Drag Wheels, number 48. These are always a lot of fun, hot rod comics. At the very least, I can polish up on my lingo. Stay current with the kids. And then I was super happy to find a copy of this. This is Dynamo #1 from August of 1966, beginning the Tower Comics line of superheroes. I have a number of these, but I don't have #1, and I paid $1.50 for this, so it's a good placeholder until I find a better copy, that's for sure. And then sometimes you find those comics you just didn't know you needed until you stumble across them. This is Gabby Hayes' Western. And, what can I say? I'm not all that familiar with Gabby. Mostly I know him from references and other things like Mystery Science Theater or Bugs Bunny cartoons. But I read through this thing, and it's a riot. I'm absolutely thrilled to have this, and we'll be talking about this in the future. Comics for Breakfast. And they are coming up, too, folks. I'm shooting them right now as we speak. Well, actually, technically, right now I'm shooting this, but you know what I'm saying. We have Jimmy Olsen and the Monarch of All He Subdues. That's Victor Volcanum. Why not? This is a cool Kirby comic for 50 cents. Add that to my Jimmy Olsen collection. I'm trying to complete that Kirby run. We have Kerry Drake, the Racket Buster. And I may be wrong, but this may even be pre-code. I flipped through it. It's pretty violent. So, hey, for 25 cents, I'm not kidding you folks. It says it right there in pencil on the back. Always trust the pencil on the back. Then we have Rogue Driver. It's Hot Rod Racers #1. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Volume 1, number 11. Can't use the brakes. Not yet. Because you know what? Otherwise, you'd be a big stinky chicken. That's right. I'm calling you out. I want your pink slip. And then we have The Thing and the Son of Stan. Together, Satan. Together. This is Marvel 2-in-1 number 14. And once again, for a quarter, I couldn't pass it up. No, sir, because ultimately, I just want to read them, you know. I'm not the biggest Thing or Son of Satan fan in the world, but for a quarter, the opportunity to read a wonderful Bronze Age comic, I'm not going to pass it up. Then we have a book I've never actually seen before. This is a Ponytail, number 4, from October/December of 1963. So apparently this was only published 4 times a year. Who was the publisher? Well, it's got to be Dell. Now, I'm a big teen humor fan, so for 50 cents, by all means, I figured I'd give it a shot. Flip through it, has some nice artwork. Seems like it could be well worth my time, and yours as well. Speaking of being well worth my time, Red Sonja. This is number 2 of the original series. I paid 25 cents for this. Next up, what do we have? It's Amazing Spider-Man in the blaze of battle, and Spidey teaming up with the Torch to take on the Lizard. And granted, it's coverless, but for $1.50, how can you go wrong? I say you can't. Next up, we have some Skywalds, Blazing Six Guns, and the Sundance Kid. These are pretty nifty books. These are from the late 60s, and they feature some original stories up front and some reprints in the back. For 50 cents, couldn't go wrong. Then we have America's favorite funny men. It's the Three Stooges, the Men in the Moon. And that's right, this is the original Three Stooges 3D comic. And I was thrilled to pick it up for 25 cents. Not quite sure what that is. Rather troublesome, but hey, I'm not going to eat it. I'm only going to read it. Then we have It's Unearthly Spectaculars featuring Jack Q. Frost. And he is definitely a character that we're going to be featuring in an upcoming Comics for Breakfast. I know because, well, I just scanned the comic book last night. Then we have a couple copies of Werewolf by Night, and I'm always happy to add these because horror comics always very desirable to a cross-section of collectors. This is number 7, The Ritual of Blood. Once again, 25 cents. Do I hear a knock at my door? I just might. Doesn't make any sense. What? Finish the video? But my food is here. I gotta eat my pizza while it's hot. All right. Let's finish the video. What do we have here? It's Werewolf by Night, number 33. And this is cool because it features Moon Knight. And I know that Werewolf by Night / Moon Knight team-ups, well, they're quite desirable in the collector community. Hey, I paid 25 cents for it, like I said. I just want to read it. I'm not going to stick it in a plastic coffin. And then we have a Werewolf by Night. I paid 50 cents for this. This is giant size. And this features a brand new story and some pretty nifty reprints from back in the day. Then what do we have here? We're hitting the coverful comics, is that a word? And Archie 200. That's right, it's the big 200th issue. And what's going on? Well, Mr. Lodge, he's all cracked off at Archie. Then the monsters are coming. The werewolves are here. It's Beware, number 6. And this is cool. I read this earlier. This was a blast. Enjoyed that comic quite a bit. Here's a comic that I see on the internet quite a bit. I've never had the opportunity to read it. It's Brain Boy. What's it all about, Alfie? I couldn't tell you. But for $1, I had to throw in. And for a bonus, we get The Dog That Smelled Death. Keep 'em away from my shoes. Then we have Madhouse, number 96. And I actually have a copy of this already, but I figured for $1, well, I'd throw it in my pile of trade bait because it features some fantastic artwork, some great stories. This is truly a phenomenal comic from the Red Circle Group, a.k.a. Archie. You didn't know they published Devil Comics, did you? And then, well, it's Charlton Comics, number 51, and the Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves. And this is a very odd cover, I gotta say. Sort of thing that if I had a van, I would have this painted on the side of my van, for sure. I want to get respect in the neighborhood, that's for sure. That's very important. Here's a copy of Marvel Premiere featuring Wonder Man, and this is Wonder Man's first solo appearance. Frustratingly enough, well, I picked this up just after I had finished the Wonder Man comics for Breakfast Spotlight. So, here it is. I don't know, maybe we'll work that in as an addendum. And then we have Monster Hunters, number 2. That's right. And these are wild Charlton Comics for sure. I would love to know where some of these paintings are because they are beautiful examples of 70s artwork at its trippiest. Speaking of trippy, we have Scary Tales number 30 featuring Steve Ditko's Come Stay With Me. And then we have some Star Trek. Gold Key Star Trek, no less. Captain Kirk sees ancient history being unmade. Say it isn't so. Hey, you better get on that, Captain. Then we have Fantastic Four. It's the special issue, king size. This marriage will not take place. It's the wedding of Sue and Reed. And I was pretty sure that I had a copy of this tucked away somewhere, but I didn't have a copy with this cover. And for $1, how could I go wrong? And then here it is. It's a comic that inspired this whole episode. It's Tower of Shadows number 7. And if it wasn't for this, I might have walked out of the comic book shop with nothing. Instead, well, you see what it has wrought. And then, oh, it's Mike Shane. Oh, he's a private detective, isn't he? Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh, it went all the way. Fortunately, I can just do that. Dang it. Larry, can we get a better system here? This is lame, man. This is no good. Guys with over 1,000 subscribers don't have this problem. And then we have, hey, it's the Occult Files of Dr. Spectre. It's the brain of Zorkon. And, man, I love these Dr. Spectre comics. They are underappreciated classics for sure. Can't wait to tuck into that. Delicious brains. And then we have all new Scary Tales, number 2. Don't settle for any of those boring old reprints. No, sir. Go for the all-new Scary Tales. And then we have, it's another Monster Hunters. And apparently, well, the artist had a lot of brown left over for his previous paintings, but still very striking nonetheless. Then it's Ghost Manor with a wonderful Steve Ditko cover. Oh, wow, that's freaky. Do not read these stories alone. They will blow your mind. That's right. And then here's a very cool Creepy Things with a Tom Sutton cover. And here's another book that I actually own. But for 50 cents, well, I had to add it to the collection once again, pass it on to someone who loves comics just as much as I do. And then it's Dark Shadows. I was very excited to pick up a couple of these last week. I found another one. Ruthless criminals fight for control of Collinwood. Stop them, Barnabas! Stop them! And, man, I gotta say, Cold Key really knew how to hit the hype button. That is very cool. And then we got the Ghost World. And this is pretty nifty. Voyage Home, the last of the Guru. Sexy Sadie, what have you done? And then we have another Ghost World. Very atmospheric cover. Pretty nifty, for sure. I think the acid is kicking in. And then I picked this one up. This actually had some kind of weird funk on the cover, but, you know, a little bit of scratching with a fingernail. Got it nice and clean. For 40 cents, I'm happy to add this copy of All New Ghost Manor to my collection. Very creepy. Ooh. And wow! Holy smoking Joe in the morning. That is something else for sure. I'm not quite sure who that is by. Oh, it's by 00696. I love his work. And here's another Tom Sutton cover. Wow. Really jump out. It's Visit Ghost Manor if you dare. Do ya? Huh? Punk? And then, well, I paid, what was it, 50 cents for this, a 60-cent cover price, 3, count them, 3 Ditko stories. Were they really men? All that was known was that they had come from all our dark rooms. And I flipped through this dynamite art. Can't wait to check this out for sure. Probably look at it in a future Halloween comics for breakfast. And Halloween is coming up. Very excited about that. Here's a Ghostly Tales, and he's stealing my body. UFO, Flying Saucers, another interesting UFO book from Dell. Do alien explorers hold Earthlings in their grip? Well, apparently they got Wyatt Earp here pretty good. And then what's going on? Here's a Pep from back in the day. This is Pep number 191, and my LCS has a, I don't know, like a 2.0 of this for $9. But I paid a quarter because, once again, I just want to read it. And that's a fun cover. Absolutely. Gotta love that. Ah! Freaky stuff, kids. And we're wrapping things up with The Power of Warlock, number 8. Only one of us may claim this tower. The other may find nothing but death. And it's the night of the archdemon. And apparently he only got one, as, Warlock went on for a while, and I don't really think we saw this guy again. But, hey, if you're going to climb a monument, the Washington Monument, well, it's waiting right there for you, isn't it? Well, hey, thank you for joining us. I want to eat my pizza, and I'm sure that you have wonderful 4th of July celebrations to get to. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, Comics for Breakfast will be back really, really soon. Until then, I'm Jason Mink. I'd like to thank you for having a drink with Mink, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.